Picture this. You're stuck in tight city traffic. The light turns green, nobody moves, and the guy in front of you keeps revving, creeping, and braking. The cars look calm, but under the hood, it's chaos. Clutches are cooking, turbos are roasting, filters are filling with soot. Most drivers think highways are what wear engines out. In reality, slow city traffic is far worse. Short moves, long waits, low speed, high heat. The habits that feel normal in traffic are exactly what mechanics say they see every day on damaged diesels. The scary part? You might be doing them without realizing it. To see how to stop that, we need to start with the way most people crawl through traffic. Think about how you usually move in a jam. Clutch, half pressed. Car creeping an inch, stop. Clutch again, tiny gas, stop. It feels like you're being smooth and controlled. In reality, you're slowly sanding your clutch away. When you hold the pedal halfway, the clutch is slipping instead of locking. All that slip turns into heat. Over time, the friction material gets glazed, the dual-mass flywheel develops hot spots, and the car starts to shudder when you pull away. The fix sounds boring, but it's powerful. Either be on the clutch or off it. Use the brake to hold the car. Let a proper gap open, then move forward in one clean, smooth roll instead of 100 tiny jerks. It might feel like you're leaving space, but you're saving your clutch and gearbox. And once you stop abusing the clutch, another common city fuel-saving trick starts to look very different. A lot of diesel drivers think staying in a high gear at low speed saves fuel. You see it all the time. The car is barely above idle, the engine is shaking a bit, and the driver says, "It's fine, I'm not revving it." That's not fine, that's lugging. When you lug a diesel, you're asking it to pull a heavy load at very low RPM. Cylinder pressures shoot up, combustion gets rough, and soot production climbs. You feel it as a dull knock and lazy response. The mechanic sees it later as carbon stuck to pistons, valves, intake runners, and EGR passages. The engine has a happy zone where it feels smooth and willing instead of strained. In city traffic, that usually means one gear lower than you think. Slightly higher RPM with gentle throttle is far healthier than dragging the engine along in a gear that's too tall. Once you start driving in that smooth zone, you begin to see why so many modern diesels choke in city use long before anything truly wears out. Modern diesels rely on two systems that hate stop and go: EGR and DPF. EGR pushes some exhaust back into the intake to lower emissions. The DPF catches soot and needs heat and steady running to burn that soot off. Short hops, low speeds, and constant speed changes mean the engine often never stays hot and stable long enough to complete a full cleanup cycle. Regeneration starts, then you park. Starts again, then heavy traffic. Meanwhile, more soot and unburnt fuel are getting trapped. For the driver, it shows up later as warning lights, reduced power, and a car that suddenly feels clogged. If you live in the city, your best weapon is a deliberate cleanup drive. Once in a while, give the engine a stretch of steady speed outside the jam, at the right RPM, for long enough to let the system do its work. Because if you don't, there's another habit most city drivers have that quietly doubles the damage. City driving is full of waiting. At lights, gates, parking ramps, school pickups, drive-thrus. And a lot of diesel owners treat all that waiting the same way. They let the engine idle for minutes at a time. It feels harmless. The AC is running, the music is playing, and you're only sitting. But the engine is still working. At idle, fuel burns less efficiently. Temperatures are lower, so soot builds faster. Fuel can start to sneak past the piston rings and thin out the oil. The EGR and DPF now have even more mess to clean with less heat to help them. You don't need to treat the key like a light switch, but you also don't need the engine running every time the car isn't actually going somewhere. If you know you'll be stopped for more than a couple of minutes, shutting off is almost always kinder than endless idling. And once you understand what happens while the engine is running, you're ready for the bad habit that kicks in right when most people turn it off. Picture the end of a long day. You finally get a clear road, give the engine a bit of throttle, then pull straight into your parking spot and shut it down. For a turbo diesel, that's like sprinting upstairs and then instantly stopping your heartbeat. Under that calm hood, the turbo is still extremely hot. When you kill the engine right away, the oil flow stops, but the heat doesn't. Oil trapped inside the turbo housing cooks into hard deposits. Over time, those deposits narrow the tiny oil passages that keep the turbo alive. The fix costs nothing except patience. After harder driving, leave the engine idling gently for 30 to 60 seconds before switching off. In the city, that might mean easing off the throttle earlier before you reach home so the engine has already started to cool. And when you combine that with an eye for small symptoms, you avoid the final trap of city driving that mechanics recognize in seconds. In city traffic, tiny problems have no room to breathe. A small vibration, a mount starting to wear, a hose sweating a little oil, they all get stressed harder by constant stop-start, heat, and vibration. Many drivers ignore them because the car still feels fine. But every harsh takeoff, every lugged gear, every hot shutdown pushes those weak parts a bit closer to failure. That's why city diesels with low mileage can still look tired when a mechanic opens the hood. The real secret to keeping a diesel alive in city traffic isn't magic fuel or a special gadget. It's a different way of thinking about how the engine feels. Smooth clutch work instead of constant slipping. The right gear instead of lugging. Regular chances for the emissions system to clean itself. Less pointless idling. A short cool down before shutdown, and taking small warnings seriously instead of waiting for a big, expensive noise. Treat your diesel like a long-distance runner that's been trapped in a crowded city. It can handle the stop and go, but only if you respect what's happening under the hood. City traffic won't change, but how you drive in it can. Do that, and the next time your mechanic sees your engine, it won't be as another sad example of city damage. It will be proof that someone actually knows how to drive a diesel in traffic the way it was meant to be driven.